Okay, hi everybody. So, the point of the U.S., like I said, these people have no respect for blood and soil because they're all troublemaking nomads. But the point of the U.S. were that you were supposed to be very, like, proud to be here because your children had the opportunity to be born here, and then they had the opportunity for the United States Enlightenment. That was just the idea of the founding fathers. So, and that's why they're trying to take away birthright citizenship, because they want to think that this is their country. And they want to take away our spiritual potential. So, I don't know. And the spiritual potential is due to the Constitution, that is a formulation of freedom that allows for enlightenment, which is where many of us are. I think even globally, if you were able to experience this kind of enlightenment, but the country, this nation was set up so it's all of its citizens in entirety could experience the enlightenment. So now they're upset because they're Satanists and they want everybody to be slaves. I think where she did that was, like, their worst nightmare is us having the freedom to become enlightened. Alright, so the following is all kind of like Buddhism. And I'm sorry if that upsets Christians, but like I said, I do think Christ is the ultimate spiritual teacher. But if you understand global history, the Buddha came first. So the Buddha came 5,000 years before Jesus Christ. And for me, because we are here and now in the present moment, I feel that we learn the Buddhist teachings, and that will help us understand the teachings of Christ. And some say that Christ even traveled to Tibet to learn the teachings of the East. So we're not going to limit ourselves, okay? So here we go. We're going to start. So the Four Noble Truths at 3 different levels. That's epic. So, sorry if this sounds fragmented again, but bear with me. So, this is invaluable information for your freedom. So, the arising of suffering, the sensation of suffering. Practice is personal, how it applies to us and supports us at the mind. So these are the 3 levels: the mind level, the heart level, and the belly level. And I'll remind you that Elon and the Zionists want you to think like nomads. They want you to take a rock and bang it against a wall, or they want you to only listen to their chatbot. They do not want you listening to yourself on 3 levels and truly contemplating information. So that's why we're countering that right now. So Buddhist monk hadn't produced miracle. The monk disrobed, went to town and told the townspeople, teaches is the end of suffering. And the Buddha says he is actually praising me. Get to the heart of the suffering and bring it to an end. Peace will bring joy, happiness. Peace, well-being, joy, happy, producing paid careful attention to pain and was able to not get the surgery, attending to the pain, mindfulness-based stress reduction. Medical world couldn't help with the pain, motivations, screening, bring your attention to the pain, wise and honest, face it, study the pain. Dukkha is suffering and pain, existential, emotional pain, irritation. Stop blaming, feel it, and the discomfort, study it, and find out what's extra, what's not needed. There is suffering in this world. Avoiding suffering. No one is. I don't know what I was trying to spell. Like I feel like nobody's like exempt from it. And we say yes, we name it, and we say it is part of the human condition, and we don't have to take it so personally. So I meet a lot of people who are in constant like medical it's this, it's another surgery. And I'm not saying avoid medical surgery. If you need it, please listen to your doctor. But I am saying that in this life, as in existence as humans, like, you're going to feel pain. Okay? So like, you don't need to numb all of your pain. So common phenomena, we are built to have pain, suffering, grief, to be honest and to study it, but not to identify ourselves with it, or define ourselves by it. Like, this is being done to me, but rather look at the suffering and be with it in a wise way. It's not easy, external causes, but we have to turn and look inside. Avalanche, covered in snow, felt a profound peace, and there he was unexpectedly able to punch up through the snow and was rescued. Profound letting go because he thought he was dying. Okay, so I guess that was just like an example in the story. So like, essentially, like, if you're constantly fighting the pain and you're constantly like identifying with the pain, and you're constantly like thinking that the pain is only happening to you, like, the pain will control you. You have to remember that like all humans experience suffering and pain, and then like coming to complete peace with it, so that you can enjoy like the rest of your existence. So like, this guy was under like a snow avalanche, and obviously he was probably panicked, etc. But as soon as he surrendered to the fact that he was covered in a snow avalanche and felt extreme peace, his probably like unconscious mind was acted and punched through the snow with like an extreme determination, that didn't come from the mind fighting the snow, and then he was able to be rescued, kind of vibe. So mindfulness practice, the concentration practice provides us with an inner stamina, skills, and strength, so we can turn toward our suffering in a useful, meaningful way and find the freedom of it. Like, can you sit silently, seriously, like meditating like this with your eyes closed, and get to a point where your thoughts subside? Can you even sit cross-legged? Can you work through the pain of what it feels like to sit cross-legged for an extended period of time in complete silence, just confronting the thoughts that come to your mind until you come to a place of silence and peace? Or do you try to find the next task? Or do you turn on the television to drown out the sounds? Or do you avoid what's going on in your head? Or do you fall for the traps of all the thoughts that run through your head on a constant loop? Do you have control over your mind? And if control over your mind is such an important part of the spiritual process to enlightenment, do you think it is smart to allow somebody else to control your mind? when we don't take the suffering personal, when we don't blame family, when we stop complaining and we take a good look and recognize the suffering without attachment, without identification, without resistance, a clarity of seeing where in the seeing there is a freedom and even a delight. It's not your dad's fault, because your dad is just a human who maybe wasn't as enlightened as you now are. So are you going to trap yourself to the idea that your dad ruined your life? Or are you going to free yourself? That's just an example from somebody I had been listening to recently. Not to be defined by suffering, not to be burdened by what we carry. That's a choice. That's a personal choice. 1, the mind to understand. 2, the arising of the suffering. And 3, the cessation of the suffering. 1, the mind to understand the suffering without cause. That stuff is just something we have to live with because it is inherent to the human existence. To say, oh, this is existence, this is human existence. Sometimes it's external and we can address it, and sometimes we can't. But what we can do is always take responsibility for our contribution to our emotional pain. And the cause is thirsting for something, a craving, a clinging, a compulsion, an addiction. If you cling, you will suffer. It's that compulsion to want to feel the pain sometimes, that pain of what you feel was done to you. But that's an attachment that will keep you trapped in the pain. It is a compulsion, and you do need to break it. So what am I attached to? Contracted, fragile, stuck. And if you spend time in meditation, you can calm and settle the mind. You work through all of those things. You work through all of those things before you take it out on somebody who cannot themselves work through those things. Obviously, you're looking for the answer in someone else. You need to sit in silence and work it out in your mind until you come to a place of peace without blame. The intelligence that brought you your suffering is the suffering. You need to defeat it, which is so true. Like, the level of your intelligence is going to be the level in which you pretzel yourself into suffering. So if you can intelligently talk yourself into the ideologies and constructs that are creating your suffering, then you need to use your intelligence to deconstruct the constructions that you've created. Which is like, this is why I have no respect for Zionist people, because I'm like, you are a big giant mindfuck. Like, figure out your shit. Figure out your shit. Your shit is not everybody's shit. You make your shit everybody's shit. I don't have time for you. I need you all to go on a retreat, a peaceful Buddhist retreat, and work it out with yourselves. Americans shouldn't be paying for you to have bombs to work out your deranged psychological issues on everybody else. It's called enabling on a global scale. Look, I've been blessed with a beautiful new cup of coffee. So you need to remain focused, mindful, clear. That's an interesting word I wrote. I'm not sure what that word is. Okay. So now we're going to enter level 2. That was the mind. This is the heart. So allow it to tenderize your heart. Meet your suffering with compassion, care, and not with anger and fear. Without resistance. Turn towards it. Feel it. Allow yourself to be now. You are patient with it, and let your heart meet it. Let your heart meet it. Let your heart meet it. Think above your primal self. Get out of your mind. Capacity to feel the suffering and allow the heart to respond. I'm not sure if this is part 3, but this is the belly response. The source of where something that is born deep in us, unknowing, and intelligence, and emerging from deep inside the belly. The gut feeling, not the I drama. So not the I drama of the mind, but the feeling of the gut. They call that like the brain, the second brain. The difference between making and allowing without ever laying concepts, projections, be there without interference. Quiet the projections we have on life. Great to do this with friends. Remove your projections that you've placed upon the people around you. Without biased projections, preferences, be there in the rawness of the present moment. Experience allowing things to unfold. We see the coming and going of the waves, and we don't get attached to the wave. We ride the wave. We see, feel, experience the rawness of the experience, coming and going of suffering. Nothing is constant. Nothing is stuck. Everything is flowing. The river, noticing the gaps of freedom or peace, where holding on or resisting, and seeing that relaxing and letting go, immersing into the experience. So like when I practice Buddhism, I think a big one for me was preferences, practicing no preferences, and then experiencing. I think that was like an experiment that I did. So I would just say put down your preferences and just experience. So that was a big one for me. I know equanimity was a big one for me, which just means equal. So like finding the equanimity of all the situations, which is why U.S. politics doesn't work for me either, because being a crazy right winger, being a crazy left winger, and stuck to your attachments of those things, will not get you equanimity. Equanimity is the inner peace of an equal state of mind. Okay, so like, and then like nothing is constant. So that's another one. So it's like things are gonna pass. Like allow the waves to come. Experience the turbulence and then experience the calm. And know that turbulence may come again, but then calm may come again after that. And we're just here to experience and to output the best that we can for ourselves and for humanity in terms of peace and like love and respect and understanding. Okay, so the third noble truth is a profound realizing the source has a greater life for us, and the emergence of the Eightfold Path, a state of being that we live by. We become ethically mindful is who we are, an orientation or perspective to see yourself in a new way, freedom, joy, and happiness. These things are a choice. Like I said, like, it's a choice. Freedom, joy, and happiness is a choice, and it doesn't come from controlling others, and it doesn't come from hating others. It comes from the inside. And for you to, like, another Buddhist teaching that I liked a lot was you throw the pebble in the still pond and you watch the ripple cover the entire pond. So it's like that's you. So when you throw that pebble, when you put out that energy, it's going to ripple. It's going to affect the entire pond. So throw out a pebble of peace, love, and respect. Do not throw out a pebble of hatred and ideological drama and problems and control and preferences. The greater source has a greater life for us, and you need to allow it to emerge. Okay, so we're not going to get to the Eightfold Path today, but the Eightfold Path is like right view. Let's see if I can list them. Right view, right thought, right work, right action, right speech, I don't know, so like stuff like that. But anyway, it's a path that leads to a state of spiritual enlightenment. So that's why it's like it guides you. So I don't know where this came from, but 5 paired areas to look at yourself more deeply. You may have the first answer, but what comes more deeply? So, like, you may have the first answer. And I like what a politician said the other day. He was asked a question, and he said, honestly, like, I haven't thought this out yet. Like, I haven't worked this one out yet, but let me just verbally try to work it out right now. I forget how he worded it. And he was just letting these thoughts come to his mind, and then to see where it like carried him. And that may not be like his final answer or whatever, but I feel like he was being honest about the fact that like he didn't just like bullshit an answer from the top of his mind, the first thing that came to his mind. He explained to you the process of like, let me just speak out loud about this for a second and see where it takes me. So where others will like blurt something out, and then they have to figure out now, oh shit, now I have to figure out how to construe the future to fit this thing that I just blurted out. It's like it's not evolved, and that's why people call these people like reptilian lizards, because it's like, where's your evolution? Like, so it's like he says to look at yourself more deeply. And this is Gail Fronsdale. I really recommend listening to Gail Fronsdale. He's excellent. So you may have the first answer, but then what comes more deeply? The meaning and the purpose, the agency and the autonomy. Meaning and purpose, agency and autonomy. My dog is an immovable brick. Identity and dignity, community and kinship, healing and reconciliation, the meaning of life, implicit and explicit, conscious and unconscious, society, religion, and family. People just have this, how things are, acculturating children to a view of what it means to be a human being in a relationship to other human beings, horrified by the conditioning, but everyone in a society or culture has to have a language to speak with people, to communicate and to find our way. The Buddhist practice uncovers layers of the conditioning. Women who wanted children, some children who grew up wanting to fulfill parents' ideals, their meaning, and then like a feeling of like resentment for some of these kids who try to grow up to like their conditioning, to fulfill like their parents' desires, and not finding their own, which is just, it's a common phenomenon amongst young adults. Meaning gives us orientation, quality of relationships, love, support, community. But meaning gives us orientation. So like, and that's a problem. It's like when the tech industry and these Zionists take away the meaning of life for these kids by saying that your life is meaningless and AI is going to take over, it fundamentally breaks the spirit, which is what I think that they're actually trying to do. So meaning gives us orientation, the quality of relationships, love, support, community, feeling fulfilled. People who have no purpose feel disorientated. They feel lost, like they don't fit into the society world. They are deeply depressed by it all. Think something is meaningful in a particular way, but they cannot fulfill that meaning. It is challenging for them. Some people have a meaning that they thought was the purpose, but the rug is pulled out, which has happened to like a lot of young adults. The religion provided meaning, but then at some point they could not follow this. Talking to people, listening to what someone wants for their life, and listen for suffering. Do I have a role to be a mirror for that, or engage them around that, or support them? One purpose of life is to find liberation from suffering. When suffering is over, what is the meaning of life then? So when the suffering of the Zionists, when the Zionists inflicted suffering ends, then what is the meaning of our life? What would it be like to have complete freedom? What would it be like to have money? What would it be like to fulfill your dreams? And to be able to have the peace and the calmness to realize what your dreams are. And to be able to pursue them because you have the economic capacity and opportunity. My dog is scared of the wind. Um, so, to help others from suffering, purpose to thrive in a deep way, to live in a sense of abundance, expansiveness, to free the sense of inner possibility. So, what we live in, want to live in harmony with a power greater than ourselves. As Buddha would say, the higher power within ourselves. When we are set free from all of the restrictions that we live under, all the limitations we live under, we feel how we are restricted and how we oppress others. Oh, look at that. I see how that is a limitation to my growth. Live with a sense of peace, joy, and wisdom, agency and autonomy, not living in oppression, prison, not controlled by other people's institutions. You can make your own choices. Prisoners versus enlightened. Freedom is like the inner freedom, the ability to act, to do what needs to be done. Open my heart to be of service of others. Respect, identity, and dignity. Honor people, respect them. Identity, what hat you're wearing. You have an understanding of your values, your meaning, and your purpose. A clear sense of now you are living in relation to other people, how to interact with it, and how to care for it. Identity loss can happen. How do I care for that and meet that? What can support this person to find a new identity? What can help support this person to let go of the old identity? Noble ones are the enlightened community and kinship and relationship to others. It can be challenging for children for the rest of their lives. Growth and development, attachment disorders, security, and trust. I think that's a little psychology. Like at the age of 5, like influenced by each other. So like, I don't know, like. I think just like the importance of growth and development. The Buddhist meaning of life is to live, realize what blocks our lives, how clinging, fear, resentment, desires all limit us, and see how the archons and the Zionists, like Elon and such, they want us to live in a state of like clinging, fear, resentment, desire to want more. Like it's all irrelevant to the freedom that we can experience of life, to the degree which we interfere with our life being lived fully. Engagement, alive, healing, and reconciliation. And then this is like the first sentence of the next teaching, which is the art of listening will teach you how to further your meditation practice, which is so true and that's why the universe stalks me now, because I have become an eternal listener because my practitioner brought me to like the crown chakra state, like opening. So it's just like I'm listening, my antenna is open, and therefore I'm constantly receiving. So if you truly like listen, it will teach you how to further your meditation practice, which is your path to freedom. So you address like what comes to you. without fear, like attachment, clinging, and transmutation of energy. So if a negative energy comes to you, you transmute it into positive energy, a positive. So, and then that is what the universe responds to. So you transmute chaos into collaboration and coordination and organization. You transmute dishonesty and lies into honesty and truth. So it's the transmutation process, which is a spiritual teaching in a lot of ancient cultures and cultures called alchemy, which is the transmutation of different items into gold. The Alchemist is a really good book. The Alchemist, you should read it, but it's a short book, so I don't want to give it away, but The Alchemist is a great book if you can listen to it like online. The story about coming home to yourself to find your freedom, to find the gold, after a long travel of the world, to eventually come home and to find yourself, which is ultimately what you were seeking in your travels. So anyway, peace and love to everybody, and may we have wonderful days where we work together as a community and we always do the right thing, and therefore we will eventually just create those who create drama and terrible morality and obviously the inversion of what life should be. We can make them irrelevant through our strong faith in ourselves, our higher power, and our divine path of this lifetime, and our sense of community.